Hello, everybody. And Chris, no, I don't. I'm not exactly sure if sniping is illegal or not. I know I've been sniped before for more mean purposes, but man, they had three watching, but now we only have three waiting. Now we only have one watching. Um, yeah. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting more people back. Anyways, well, welcome to the mic stand. As it looks like we do have some people in here. Um, actually on time from the beginning here. Instead of sitting around waiting, I guess I'll talk about what's on tap for tonight, and then get right into the show. So our three main articles we're going to be looking at, all from Bounding into Comics, will be there's an interview with Luciano Cunha about his upcoming release of let's see what's he got coming out here. Uh, Mister Now, which they say is a superhero story with a twist. So we're gonna go over that interview. Also, some follow up on the G4 TV story, as of course, apparently Adam Sessler can't keep his mouth shut. Apparently, as he's got some choice words for people about G4 TV's downfall, as well as Frost. We're going to be looking at that. Also, Alan Moore has, I guess, disowned the current incarnation of the. Let me see. I recall. Yeah, he officially disowns Damon Lindelford's or Lindelof's Watchmen miniseries for HBO. So we'll be looking at that. So again, I guess Alan Moore is just in a whiny mood right now. Anyways, check something out here. I wonder if that is actually happening. Let me just take a quick peek here. Well, maybe not. But anyways, I know Chris, you had asked. I don't know. I don't really know if it is illegal or not. But I always like the views. So, um, anyways, um, so with all that being said, and since we do have another consistent viewer here, why don't we go ahead and get going on the article? And of course, we have those three. Will have, you know, depending on time, I may go over to CBR and look up more articles. And we also, of course, will have the wrestling roundup and this day in each history a little later on. So without any further ado, hi, Mike. Hey, Chris. I see you there. I see you there. Um, hope you guys are checking me out. Hope you guys will enjoy the content here, as I'm about to go into the stories here. We'll cover the main stories, and then we'll, depending on how much time it takes for us to get through those, we'll see if we add some more from CBR or not, and then get into the wrestling roundup and we are enjoying you, brother. All right, thank you. Anyways, okay, so let me go ahead and get this all going here. And let's go ahead and get into the first story then. Alrighty then. So, for those who might be watching me, and as always, guys, of course, if anything in these articles catches your interest, if you want to comment on or ask questions on, go ahead and do so. And if I can I'll do my best to answer the questions if I can. So, with that, let's go ahead and get into this first article, which is an interview with I guess he's a comic book artist. Interview Luciano Cunha launches Mr. Now, a superhero story with a twist. article by Paul Hare, published on Monday. All right. All right. So, Mr. Now is the latest graphic novel from Luciano Cunha, the creator of the highly successful The Awakener comic book, which has been adapted into a movie and a TV series. Bounding into Comics spoke with Mr. Cunha about Mr. Now. Mr. Cunha and Mr. Now. Sounds like an interesting crime fighting duo, huh? And he provided the inside scoop on how it tells a superhero story with a twist. Very interesting. Kind of got a purple and gold superhero suit going there, much akin to a Golden Age Sandman. Also the colors of royalty, of course. Purple and gold. Anyways, aging brings perspective. And once you hit the middle age and older, you become acutely aware of your mortality and how you have lived your life. That's what inspired Mr. Cunha to create his new superhero and start a crowdfunding campaign for the graphic novel. Oh, very interesting. I would hope that maybe Luciano would consider reaching out to RJ to get some props to get some promotion going. Let's see now. As we continue on here, quote, "This new comic book is a reflection of the moment I'm living today. I just turned 50. Mr. Cunha said in a press release, quote, "It is a clear reassessment, a literally existential rethinking, because you feel when you reach maturity that your stock of time is no longer, so that's reflected in the plot." Excuse me a moment. I'm going to need to step away from the computer for a quick moment. I'll be right back. But while I'm gone, turn on some music for you guys. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to cough on camera there. Anyway, I'll be right back. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard when it feels like something's jabbing your throat. Ah, ah. Anyways, I hope you guys didn't take off on me there. Anyways, getting back to the article here. Huh. He does. All right. Anyways, um, getting back to the article here. Age is also where the twist comes into play. Mr. Now isn't some young guy or even an aged superhero who began his costume life years ago in his youth. Instead, he's an outright old man with no apparent skills who decides to launch a superhero career. Oh yeah, that's kind of kind of an interesting. Uh, wow, that's kind of an interesting midlife crisis there, isn't it? Um, Mr. Kunha describes him as being a man already in his third age, former presenter of a very famous children's TV show, having to face physical decay, not anonymity, and loneliness, unquote. He decides to attempt to make a life altering change, quote, when strange events strike some neighborhood kids, unquote. If anybody came back. Yep, they did. Somebody did. Okay, that's good. Quote, it's a story of redemption, something I've always wanted to do, unquote, Mr. Kunha continued. Quote, how can an elderly, ordinary man, in parentheses here, with no superpowers and trying to rediscover his role in the world, make a difference in the face of of an international mafia? Unquote. Talk about your midlife crisis. Huh? Oh boy. You wake up one day, you decide in your midlife that you're going to go out and try to become a superhero. That's that's pretty interesting. I sincerely hope that this guy reaches out to RJ or RJ reaches out to this guy. This sounds like a very interesting interesting book. Contrary to what people like Alan Moore or Matt Walsh have to say about the matter. And anyways, Mr. Now is a departure from one of Mr. Kunhan's most famous works, The Awakener. The Awakener is a comic book about a Brazilian vigilante, and it's currently available on Arctunes. Yeah, I think I'd heard about that. Mr. Kunha published it independently in 2013, and it became extremely successful, with both a movie and a TV series following it. Very interesting name for a hero too. Raz, I know another one of you showed up in Maranhao. Know who it is? I know everything, Dun Tao. Mr. Kunha is making it clear that Mr. Now isn't going to be another The Awakener. He, quote, hopes to transcend the political climate that always surrounds his work, unquote. He added, quote, I want to show that I'm not just a 24-hour militant. On the contrary, militants are usually monotonous and resentful, and I'm far from it. I'm a fun guy that loves football, beers, and hard rock of the 80s. Now, the football this guy might be talking about may actually be soccer, because if he's from Brazil, um, what they call football in Brazil, we call soccer here in the States. So that's what I'm guessing. Hard rock from the 80s, which probably means he's into like probably stuff like Warrant, Twisted Sister, a couple that I can. Okay, now we're getting into the interview part of the article here. And guys, as I said, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment on it or ask about it, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you guys might have on the matter. Bounding into comics, is there anything else you want to add about the Mr. Now character or comic book that isn't in the press release? Luciano Cunha. Yeah, I like to add that Mr. Now is not a redemption story, just in the sense of a man who feels outdated and seeks meaning in life as a vigilante. Um, yeah, I mean it's kind of an interesting. Now, from my perspective here, I'm looking at this and I'm this is me doing commentary here. Um, Kind of an interesting midlife crisis angle working here. It seems like. Anyways, continuing on with his answer here. But it is a story of redemption in the sense that we, ordinary people, need to rescue values that are dormant inside us every day. Values that have moved humanity and kept us together, standing obstacle after obstacle, tragedy after tragedy, values that strengthen us and make us better human beings. Heroic values, love, honor, motivation, loyalty, justice. Hero comes from the Greek. Um, let's see, from a root meaning to protect and serve, which is actually the motto of police officers too, by the way. Um, so he's saying he's possibly saying here that the police officers are heroes as well. The root of the idea of a hero is linked to a sacrifice of oneself. The hero is the one who manages to overcome the limits and illusions of the ego. One of the best ways to convey values is through a symbol. That's why I created Mr. Now as a symbol of rescuing, in brackets there, rescuing these values, a tribute to the golden age of comics back in the 1930s, which, of course, many of you are seeing on my Friday shows right now. You're looking at some more golden age heroes this Friday. Anyways, BIC. Um, will this be an ongoing comic book series or a one-shot graphic novel? LC. At first, a single graphic novel, but I have an important character that can evolve into a leading role, and I can leave that open. Huh, okay. Yeah, I see. In America, society either ignores or disrespects people who were born around the same time you were, Generation X. Not because of their age, but because America just doesn't like this generation of people. Do you experience anything similar in Brazil? And if so, did it influence your work on Mr. Now? Elsie, you bet. We live this in Brazil. Okay. And you're right. This is one of Mr. Now's central influences. Um, how middle aged and over 60-year-old people are in very good health and active today, but they seem quote unquote obsolete to a whole generation of people and brands. Hmm. EIC. Are independent comic book creators changing um, the comic book industry? And if so, how? LC. Another sure bet. Indie authors are the gateway to a multi million-dollar industry that will bury itself in strange non-Western agenda, um, in a strange non-Western agenda. Eric July and his resounding success is further proof of that. So he's talking about, of course, what Comicsgate has done and all that, obviously. I usually say here in Brazil that we are the quote unquote new punks rockers. Um, we are making our own paths and markets. Maybe people who really love comics are tired of the big two. So I think what he's saying is people who are involved in I think what he's saying right there, what Luciano is saying there, is that people who are involved in Comicsgate and independent comics are punk rockers. So Chris, I don't know if you heard that, but I think you and Rick and Tim and Terry are all, according to him, you guys are punk rockers. You guys are getting that at all? Hey, Bianca Zombie. Thanks for dropping in. Hmm. Anyways, as we continue on now. Hmm. All right, we need to further go. BIC, where can people follow and support you online? LC, people can follow my characters on Instagram via um, Sragora Gibi and Odorina Nada Dorina. Let's see, Odorina Doro official. Support me on Subscribestar. Fans of superheroes and comic books can head over to the crowdfunding campaign for Mr. Now, and you can check out two of Mr. Kunha's past comic book series on Arcade. Wow, so cool. All right then. Let's do something real quick. All right. So anyways, let me also just hit on something real quick here. Huh. All right. Alrighty then. So, and we shall get ready to continue on with the show here. All right. So, on the video game television side of it, here we go with the next article we're going to go over here. Um, all right. Well, okay. I'm gonna need to step away from the camera for a moment. I'll be right back. we're back. Anyways, all right. So, two-time former G4 host Adam Sessler as unhinged meltdown threatens physical violence following network second shutdown. Article by Spencer McCooley, published back on Monday, actually yesterday, the 18th. All right, so let's look at this. As I know this has been getting talked about all over the place today, from yellow flash to very dark to the quartering. So let's take a look at this. I'm sure. In a completely adult response to reaping the negative effects of the own of his own, guess I should say his, of his own poisonous rhetoric he sowed. Two-time former G4 host Adam Sessler has responded to the network's second shutdown by lashing out against critics and leveling childish insults against anyone who offers him a modicum of pushback. Yeah, like this guy. It's kind. It's well. It's kind of hard to believe that this guy will continue to get work after this. I mean, he's poisonous, and anybody who does business with this guy or Frost for that matter, I think you know just takes their business lives into their own hands basically. Shut down less than a year after its revival, G4 was laid to rest for a second time on October 16th. Now, mind you, everybody generally agrees that the way that this went down was kind of messy, kind of wrong. Okay, um, you know these people should like now granted not every you just had a few bad apples spoil the bunch. It wasn't like just one, it was a few, but still, whether you liked or hate, whether you liked them or didn't like them, whether you agreed with what they did or not, you still got to treat people with basic human respect, and by doing that, and one of the things you do is that when you do decide to close things down, you tell them directly. You don't let them find out from a news article or from a tweet. You call them up. You say, "Hey, look, we're sorry this isn't working for us. We got to do this." So, and before people start crying here, understand that you know it's not that Frost and Sessler were what caused G4 to be shut down. Okay, their behavior unfortunately just accelerated the process. There was a lot of mismanagement going on there that would have ended up basically having it closed down. That's what a lot of people are saying. Okay, so it's not as much Frost was solely responsible for G4 shutting down. She just her little rant just accelerated the process, and telling customers, "Hey, you don't like it, don't watch it." Is exactly what happens. It's exactly what happens. Uh, Quote: Over the past several months, we worked hard to generate that interest in G4. The viewership is low, and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results, unquote, explained the CEO of the telecom giant's spectator arm, or spectator arm, David Scott, of the decision. Well, now I know, like, I think some of the things that like Courting pointed out too was you know, what a lot of the other commentators were pointing out was that this probably would have only lasted a year or two because you have with Twitch, with YouTube, with all these streaming services, you know, G4 is kind of obsolete. You know, having a TV network. I mean, we're seeing it with other programming blocks and television stations too. I mean, look at Toonami. It's dying out as well. So, um, quote: "This is certainly not what we hoped for, and as a result, we have made the very difficult decision to discontinue G4's operations effective immediately." Unquote. In light of this far from expected news, Sessler took to his personal Twitter account to wish his now former coworkers well in their future endeavors. Quote, "Want to send my best wishes to some of the best and most talented people I've ever worked. Um, unquote. He opened. Quote, "Please hit me up if there's some way I can help. You're all too awesome to not find your way. Big love." Unquote. Yeah, I think you probably helped enough there, big boy. Probably helped enough there. Let's see. Alrighty then. So, however, rather than leaving on that positive note and saving at least some face, Sessler, apparently unable to help himself, concluded his encouraging goodbye by poking the bear that is G-Force critics. Uh-huh. Now this guy has been known to just put some incredible vitriol on his own Twitter account, including wishing harm to his own family members that he doesn't ideologically agree with. Having learned no lessons from his recent job loss regarding being careful what one wishes for, the former G4 host then puffed his chest, quote, "And to those misguided who need to send vitriol, go right ahead. I'll keep taking your hits like I have for 20 years. I'll still be here just caring about the good people who got jacked." Except for the fact you're the one partially responsible for getting them jacked, you goof. You goof. You're part of the reason because of your TDS. To the surprise of absolutely no one, you know, Sessler's sneering sign off drew a subsequent wave of mockery from the network's critics. A wave he would meet with his own childish hissy fit. Uh-huh. This guy has no class, as I would put it. Quote, "Your inability to listen to any criticism, no matter how valid, for 20 years is staggering," said at Robin Shoe 18. And I would kind of have to agree with that. This guy seems pretty thick-headed. To which Sessler replied, quote, "Your inability to listen to me without any regard for independent thought for 20 years is quite staggering too." Oh boy. This guy's a blockhead. Pure and simple. He's a blogger. I don't know if there's much there, worth really communicating with. Met with a taunt of, quote, I'm sure a washed up middle aged man like you will be back on his feet in no time in this roaring economy created by the Democratic Party quote, from Sessler got fired, from at Sessler got fired, the freshly unemployed media personality shot back, quote, just ask your mom, I'm doing fine, unquote. The first instance of what would come to be his favorite retort. Yeah, I hear this guy has a thing about, I guess, your mom jokes. I wonder if he's got a little bit, I don't know, maybe of an Oedipus complex or something like that. I don't know. Maybe there's something a little bit more disturbing there than people realize, or that people want to know. I mean, with all these your mom, I wonder if this guy's got some kind of weird Oedipus complex or something like that. Anyways, let's continue on with this quote. Do you bleep wits have one writer who only knows one rhyme? Unquote. He exclaimed in response to one of the many declarations of quote unquote get woke, go broke. Um, which, as Vera Dark had also mentioned, their behavior is exactly the epitome of what that statement means. They went woke. They started preaching at people. Frost, had that rant, that woke rant that Oliver, that people like Sessler and Josh Miller and a few others there were applauding her for. Were applauding her for. They got woke, and then she signed up by saying, "Hey, you don't like it? Don't watch it." And that's exactly what the majority of the people did. They didn't take too kindly to being preached at. You a combination of and it wasn't okay. It wasn't just Frost rant that ended G4 TV. Okay, let's be clear on that. All Frost rant did was just accelerate the process. It just put the death knell in hyper gear, basically. Now I have heard there have been some reports that say that according to Frost, the higher ups were all down with her little rant. They were all applauding it. I was thinking about this today. On that. Let's just say for a moment, even though now Jeremy of the Quartering, he said he's gone out, he's talked to some sources. He can't find anybody to actually validate her claim that people were actually behind what she said. Okay. Now this is my theory. This is my own personal theory based on everything I've heard and everything I've listened to and all that. Okay. I think the higher ups at G4 knew this was an uphill battle. This was going to be an uphill climb. This was going to be an uphill battle. Okay. I think they knew that going in. And yeah, they may have been okay if they were okay with it. I think this is the reason why they may have been okay with it, because when they failed, and if they knew they were going to fail or had a pretty good idea they were going to fail, okay, they probably thought, well, this just gave us a good scapegoat. We can say, no, it wasn't our fault. It was Frost's fault for going on off that rant. Now we've heard different reports. We've heard from Frost that everybody was behind her, was supportive of it, and then but according to some of the sources that Quartering had pointed out, everybody's saying no, it took everybody by surprise. So who do you believe? Who do you believe there? But my own personal theory is if the higher ups were aware of it, were supposedly okay with it, I think the only reason they were okay with it is because they figured they could use it as a scapegoat for when G4 finally just crashed and burned. That's the theory. That's the theory I have. Don't know if you guys have anything you'd like to say on that matter. If you guys agree with that reasoning or not. That's the theory I would put on it, is that maybe the higher ups did know. They knew that their time was short, so they just so they so if they were actually aware of Frost's rant beforehand, they probably just let it go because they figured they could use it as a scapegoat later. But let's see. But that's exactly what happened, though. They got woke and went broke because basically they started preaching at people and they started telling fans, "Hey, if you don't like it, don't watch it," and that's what people did. Thrown his way. Quote. Also, like a real adult. In parentheses, unlike your mom, I have multiple incomes. Go bleep a sheep again, you desperate you desperate national socialist. So, unquote. Yeah, the dude is unhinged, isn't he? I kind of wonder about this guy. One of the things that just kind of, as I said, just you have to wonder again if this guy's got some kind of Oedipus complex or something like that. I'm just gonna go look some information up real quick here. Mm-hmm. With that, yeah, I wonder how his wife feels. His wife feels. I wonder how his wife feels about him going out and doing people's mothers. You know, I wonder if she's a little wary of him. You know, for his apparent Oedipus complex. But anyways, moving on with the article here. Quote: "Oh wow, so we're embracing stereotype and unironically using National Socialists as an insult for people who disagree with us," unquote, balked the target of Sessler's ire. Twitter user at he who wasn't there, quote, "Adam, while we're over here being adults," in smaller quotes, maybe we could also grow a thicker skin and not lower ourselves to in smaller quotes, your mom jokes. Just a thought, unquote. Um, quote, your mom's got a thick skin, unquote, said Sessler. Yeah, again, you have to wonder if this guy's maybe got some kind of weird Oedipus complex or something like that. With all these your mom jokes. I don't know. Or maybe he's just into MILFs. I don't know. I'm sure some of you might know what a MILF is. Anyways, moving on, met with criticism from at Unluck0999 regarding how embarrassing it was that a quote grown man resorting to, in smaller quote, your mom claps unquote, was presenting himself as a healthy example of how quote of quote how grown adults cope unquote unquote. Sessler vitriolically fired back quote, I mean, I could consider funding a house candidate in your district that cuts off all federal funding, so you have to market your daughters off to make ends meet while I drive by laughing, or I could make fun of your mom. Dude is obsessed with mothers. You have to wonder if this guy again. You have to wonder if this guy's got a serious Oedipus complex or something like that. Interjecting himself into the interaction, former G4 host Alex, quote unquote, Golden Boy Mendez, offered his emotionally stable colleague some support, dismissing, quote, don't worry, Adam, that guy ain't procreating, and if they did, oof. Yeah, you have to, again, these people are obsessed with people's sex lives, too. That's just, yeah. Again, makes you think, doesn't it? Makes you think, doesn't it? Just, yeah, we can't win a hard argument logically. So let's just talk. Let's just get down and dirty and nasty with with everything. That's how you win arguments, right? You get down and dirty. Um, quote, that's my worry, exclaimed Sessler in turn. Quote, I wonder if Adam Sessler is proud of his role in killing G4 TV within a year of it being brought back, pondered at Sir Bacon of Bits, to which Sessler whined, quote, ask your mom, she's pretty proud of something. Oh boy. Wonder how his wife feels about him going out and doing other people's moms. Oh boy. I wonder if Adam's wife is real happy that he's apparently going out and doing, other guys' moms. I mean, really? Uh, Tacking a brief reprieve from throwing his temper tantrum, Sessler eventually took a moment to reflect to his followers. Quote, so I had one hell of a therapy session, unquote. Quote, ran some math and the novelty of when I started on ZD TV 1998 with a nascent internet, and I think I might have one of the longest records for consistent online hate. Uh, in parentheses, not the most, he posited. Quote, nothing to be proud of, but humanity. He's saying he shouldn't be proud of it, yet it sounds like he is. Yeah, he's a bona fide donkey, all right, isn't he? He's a bona fide donkey, isn't he? Yes. And it looks like we do have at least one other person here. Maybe a couple. So yeah, we're going over the Bounding into Comics article from yesterday on Adam Sessler's response. based on everything I've seen and heard of this guy, it sounds like the guy is got some issues. I think he's got a serious Oedipus complex with the way he just throws out the your mom jokes, you know, ad nauseum. And I thank you for the likes and the shares. I do appreciate that. If anything here, if you want to comment on anything here that we're talking about or have any questions, um, I'll I'll answer the questions to the best of my ability if I can. But anyways, continuing on with the article here. Despite having seemingly come to I think it's not summer, sort of terms with his current situation, thanks to his therapist. Following this tweet, Sessler then began turning his quote unquote tough guy, or small quote, tough guy act up to 11. Oh boy. Let's see what this clown has to say now. Taking note of a tweet by at Callahan PCB, which dismissively wrote off um, his therapy visit as, quote, most grown men work out feelings on our own. You are just one of those that needs a little extra help. Oh boy, pathetic. How's the job hunt? Unquote. Sessler responded by seemingly threatening outright real-world violence. Oh yeah, this guy. Maybe this guy needs to be locked. Maybe for all we know, Sessler probably needs to be locked in a rubber room somewhere. So just so he's not a harm to himself or anybody else. Quote: I have a feeling to bust your rear end, but you're in Panama City, in brackets, Florida, which is punishment enough. Unquote. Sessler shot back. Quote: truly the most disgusting place I've ever seen. Yeah, probably because you can't live there because it's too pricey for you. First time I hear the word in small quotes dark as code for black people. I though they had an electricity problem at first. Okay, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And continuing on, his tirade drawing a now deleted response from Mar Era 87 of quote, you blocked all people you got well done, so bleep you, Adam, unquote. Sessler again threatened, quote, you little female dog, all I got is people. Oh, such repartee. Quote, I'm ready to turn the cap around my head, he said ostensibly, challenging his detractor to a physical fight. Yeah, challenging people to actual physical fights online is really productive. Yeah, that's a real good way of coping. Yeah. Quote, let me know who you are. I actually came up when bleep was hard. Plushy bleeps like you just hide and yell, unquote. Really? You're the one, Adam, you're the one talking garbage online. So I don't know if you got really much room to stand there, my friend. uh, yeah, so ultimately, Sessler closed out his meltdown by taking aim at G4 leadership itself, barking, quote, big shout out tonight to those that run G4 for making my life more miserable than usual when I have barely been working for them in the first place, unquote. Quote, in for a penny, in for a pounding for your baloney, unquote, he concluded. Yeah, now again, the way that G4 was managed probably wasn't the best business model, probably something that shouldn't be emulated, you know. And despite this fool's rant, despite Frost rant, despite all these fools' rants, you know, they still deserve better than the way they heard about getting fired. Okay, so um, so yeah, yeah. So, anyways, as we now um, get ready to move on to the next article here. Yeah, that one took quite a while. We're already past the hour mark here. Wow. So that was pretty interesting. All right, and going from one bit bitter man to another. Okay, so here we go with the next article. All right. So, anyways, and now Alan Moore officially disowns Damon Lindelof's Watchmen miniseries for HBO. Quote, it's embarrassing to me. Article by J.B. Augustine published yesterday. The Watchmen miniseries that served as a sequel to the graphic novel and aired on HBO has met its harshest critic. To no one's surprise, it is creator Alan Moore himself who disapproved of the adaptation and openly disowns it. Moore went into detail in an interview with GQ magazine about a letter he received from the miniseries showrunner Damon Lindelof. Quote, Dear Mr. Moore, I am one of the bastards currently destroying quote unquote Watchmen. It opened. Quote, That wasn't the best opener, unquote, Moore said. Quote, it went on through a lot of what seemed to me to be neurotic rambling. In smaller quote, can you at least tell us how to pronounce Ozymandias? Ozymandias. At least that's how I'd pronounce it. That's how I'd pronounce the word. The writer went on to admit his response might have been hostile, but it was empathic that he didn't want to be. It was, but it was emphatic that he didn't want to be contacted. Quote: I get back with a very abrupt and probably hostile reply, telling him that I thought that Warner Brothers, in brackets, was aware that they nor any of their employees shouldn't contact me again for any reason, Moore added. Unquote. He would reiterate his request while also calling the show embarrassing. Quote, I explained that I had disowned the work in question, and partly that was because the film industry and the comics industry seemed to have created things that had nothing to do with my work, but which would be associated with it in the public mind, unquote, he said. Yeah, it sounds like Alan's a little saucy, isn't he? Hmm. Uh, uh, all right. Quote, I said, in smaller quotes, look, this is embarrassing to me, unquote. Moore would continue. Quote, I don't want anything to do with you or your show. Please don't bother me again, unquote. Lindelof's Watchmen went on to be a hit with critics and at the Emmys, where the star, Regina King, won big, but Moore didn't see the appeal. Quote, when I saw the television industry awards that the, in smaller quote, Watchmen television show had apparently won, I thought, in smaller quote, oh God, perhaps a large part of the public, this is what they think, in smaller quote, Watchmen was, he pondered. Um, Now, I do have it on good authority that apparently Alan Moore has been very bitter over the years over the lack of a positive reception to his original iteration of Watchmen. Apparently, he was very upset that people essentially utterly and summarily dismissed his very progressive views of what superheroes were. Um, Quote, they think that it was a dark, gritty, dystopian superhero franchise that was something to do with white supremacism, unquote. He continued, quote, Watchmen was nearly 40 years ago and was relatively simple in comparison with a lot of my later work. What are the chances that they broadly understood anything since? This tends to make me feel less than fond of those works. They mean a bit less in my heart, unquote. As such, Moore has never seen either HBO's Watchmen or Zack Snyder's adaptation of the graphic novel. Likewise, he is notoriously adamant about not watching any adaptation of his tales. Quote, I would be the last person to want to sit through any adaptation of my work. From what I've heard of them, it would be enormously punishing, it would be torturous, and for no very good reason, unquote, he explained. But isn't that kind of the case with a lot of writers, though? But sometimes there is a case, and we've seen it. We've seen it a lot in recent years, where a lot of the original character designs and of any franchise kind of get tossed aside for so these modern writers, modern artists can push whatever they want to push. Just can't feel too bad for you can't feel you can't like sit there and glee over his misery here because this is his work, and he probably feels like they're using his work as toilet paper. Watchmen, both the HBO miniseries produced by Damon Lindelof and the film directed by Snyder, are currently available on HBO Max. All right, so there we go with that. So now let's see, where are we at on time? Hour 13. So we got still quite a bit of time. So why don't we go over then to CBR and see what we can find there. Now, since we have done, since we focused a little bit more on comic books and video games for these main ones, we'll probably focus in a little bit more on. Oh, why did I look at maybe some anime stuff here? Anime news, since all right, okay, let's see. Fudo Pies finale. That's uh, Pokemon the web anime spinoff. Okay, well, why don't we take a look at this then? All right, Pokemon the web anime spinoffs explained. In addition to the main anime series, Pokemon has over half a dozen web anime spinoffs. Here are some that are worth checking out. Article by Graham Reed, published 13 hours ago. All right, so let's take a look at this thing. Got Charizard right there with some kid. The mainline Pokemon anime has been running strong for over 20 years. Detailing Ash's long journey to become a Pokemon master. However, many short spin offs have been released. While some of these, such as the Pikachu shorts and the many movies, are tie ins to the main anime, many others are standalone titles. These spin off anime give fans glimpses into parts of the Pokemon world that Ash tends to overlook. Some of them relate directly to specific video games in the franchise, while others exist as celebrations of Pokemon as a whole. Many are available to stream for free on Pokemon's official YouTube channel, and all of them are also available on Pokemon TV. Available online or as an app on the Nintendo Switch and mobile. Pokemon Origins. They got somebody that looks like Giovanni right there from Team Rocket. This 4-episode OVA from 2013 is a direct adaptation of the story from Pokemon Red and Blue. Animated by Production IG, it stays closer to the tone of the games than the main anime does, featuring darker themes and a few brutal moments. Legendary game protagonist Red is featured instead of Ash, and other major characters include his rival Blue and Team Rocket boss Giovanni. The anime is too short to depict the full story, so instead key battles and stories are adapted in order to give this project an overarching story. While largely faithful, it does feature updates from later games, most notably Mega Evolution. Pokemon Generations. There's Cynthia right there, looks like. Hmm. All right. Continue on here with Pokemon Generations. This anime was released in 2016 to lead into the then upcoming 7th generation of Pokemon. Each of the 6 released generations received 3 episodes for a total of 18. Each episode, despite either a key moment from the game, it is based around or events from the perspective of a side character that the protagonist would not have been around to see. Some of these moments include Blue defeating the Kanto 4 Elite Four, Team Magma and Aqua's reactions to the release of Groudon and Kyogre, and AZ's tragic history. Despite being animated by OLM, the same studio that handles the main series, the series features a distinct art style that matches the sharp action sequences. Pokemon Twilight Wings. The 2020 anime exclusively features life in the Galar region, the setting of Pokemon Sword and Shield. It depicts everyday moments in a world populated by Pokemon, focusing less on the battles and more on the relatable struggles of characters and how Pokemon fit into their lives. Studio Colorido's bright color palette and smooth animation breathe life into Sword and Shield's characters and give the series a pleasant and relaxing tone. Though the battles still feel dynamic and fun, it later received a bonus episode called, quote, The Gathering of Stars, unquote, which featured characters from the DLC exclusive or expansions, as well as a few that were missed in the main series. Pokemon Evolutions. Anyway, we got 3 people. Okay. Hope you're enjoying the content, guys, as we're focusing a little bit more on anime right now. Anyways, Pokemon Evolutions. This anime feels like a successor to Generation. Similarly, focusing on key moments from the games, was released in 2021, which allowed it to feature moments from all 8 generations that had been released to that point. Each generation received one episode. OLM brings its A game to this production, um, featuring stellar fights and interesting moments of characterization. Noteworthy stories include the motivations of antagonists such as Lysander and Getsis, Lily witnessing an epic battle between some of Alola's legendary Pokemon, and a rare appearance by Fire Red and Leaf Green's female protagonist, Green. Pokemon Hisuian Snow. Hisuian Snow. Alright, let's check this out. This 3 episode series is a tie in with 2022's Pokemon Legends Arceus, featuring gorgeous animation by the legendary Wit Studio. This anime features a world before Pokemon and humans have forged their inseparable bond. This is a story of a boy who befriends a shiny Zorua. I think I did hear about this when it came out. When they are separated from their respective families, showcasing how the two overcome their mistrust of each other. It is the beginning of a warm friendship against the beautifully cold backdrop of ancient Sinnoh. It also features cameos by a few of the game's characters, making some of the only times they will likely appear in anime form. Poketunes. Oh, look at that. Uh, let's see. Let's see if anybody's saying anything. This eclectic series lacks the uniform identity that the preceding series possessed. Instead, many are animated by different studios. Released in Japan between 2020 and 2021, these episodes were released in English for the first time in the summer of 2022. So just recently, then, just a couple months ago. The series originated as a Pokemon based parody of Looney Tunes, animated by Dandelion Animation Studio. Subsequent episodes featured different themes and tones and were animated by Pancakes, Mimoid, and Studio Goonies. However, the strongest episodes are the 4 created by Twilight Wings. Producer Studio Colorido. These Twilight Wings producer Studio Colorido. These episodes feature the same charming depictions of everyday life in the Pokemon world, but they feature characters and locations created for this series rather than being confined to a single region. This allows the staff to creatively tell Pokemon stories that couldn't otherwise be told. The series is an anthology of tales that cannot be found in other parts of the Pokemon universe. The 4 that were created by different studios each have individual storytelling ideas, and even the 4 Colorido entries each tell their stories in a way unique from one another. Um, this is similar to how all of these Pokemon web anime function. All 6 of these series feature their own interpretations of Pokemon storytelling and emphasize different strengths of the franchise. From hot blooded battles to moments of kindness between Pokemon and people, each series succeeds in what it sets out to show, illustrating just how many strengths the Pokemon um, franchise has. Okay, so that sounds very interesting. That sounds pretty cool. I need to go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. Put some music on for you guys. All right, I'm back. All right, we move on to next article. Yeah, that's how it's moved. So what else we can look into? Covered technology and oh, this one was interesting. 12 hours. Okay. Like interesting one to look at. This Blackjack anime is the best adaptation of Osamu Tezuka's manga. Osamu Tezuka's famous manga, Blackjack, has been adapted into anime several times, which is the best. Article by Dr. Reno, published 12 hours ago. It's impressive. There are some stories that are absolutely timeless and revisited frequently in the generations of creators, putting their own unique spin on the source material and using it to tell stories that speak to their time and the global situation. One such story is a comic Suzuka's legendary manga Black Cat. Uh, Over the years, the character has had more six animated adaptations well as several live action manga. Black Cat for this film can be uh,
Right. Created by the father of Thomas and Andrew Rockman, Nicholas Dave, like Afro, Princess Knight, and Euclid Brad. Blackjack first released in 1972 on a 50 years series follows Burrow and no, Burrow, uh, a young man who is incredibly mischievous,
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was like, throat was kind of like feeling like it was getting stabbed. Ah, music, music, dancing, popping, dancing jig. Yeah, yeah. Chris just had to step away because my throat felt like it was getting like stabbed for some reason. Had anyways, um, back to the article then. All right, so the first anime adaptation of Blackjack premiered in 1993, directed by Osamu Dezaki, Osamu Tezuka's protege, and animated by Tezuka Productions. Hmm. Now, Tezuka Productions was a long time anime studio in Japan, so they had a number of classic works. It was an OVA series consisting of 10 episodes. In 2011, two more OVAs were released, but as Osamu Dezaki had passed, he didn't direct them, but was given an honorary director credit, leading to them being counted as part of the original series. Hmm. Osamu Dezaki, I wonder how old he was when he passed away. He passed away in 2011. He was, from the looks of it, looked like he was 67, I believe, when he passed. Oh, wow. Anyways, getting back to the article here. In 1996, two Blackjack films were released: Blackjack the movie and a short titled Blackjack Capital Transfer to Heian. Um, like the 1993 OVAs, these movies were animated by Tezuka Productions, and Osamu Dezaki directed them. Both tell a unique story, with the movie focusing on Blackjack dealing with a load of rapidly decaying superhuman. Now, Tezuka had already passed by this point because Tezuka passed in early '89 at the age of 60, from what I saw. Aside from Blackjack, of course, well, I think they mentioned earlier Astro Boy, Princess Knight, and a few others. And in 2000, the Blackjack, the boy who came from the sky, ONA, which is an original net animation, what that means, arrived on screens. Once again, animated by Tezuka Productions, but with Shinji Seiya in the director's chair. Blackjack Flash, released in 2001, as an online-only Flash animated series of Blackjack. This series was specially coded, allowing viewers to change the camera angle and interact with the episodes. Interesting. Excuse me one more time. I'm going to go off camera one more time here. Right back. And I'm back. So here we go. Let's continue with the article here. Let's see the last thing we need to do for this. The TV series arrived in 2003 named Blackjack Special, The Four Miracles of Life, made to celebrate the manga's 30th anniversary. Um, the series animated 4 chapters from the manga, and in 2004, a 61 episode series simply titled Blackjack released ran until 2006, directed by Satoshi Uehara. This series retold the story of the manga, but the setting was updated, placing the story squarely in the early 2000s. In 2005, another movie was produced dubbed Black Jack, The Two Doctors of Darkness, um, featuring direction by Makoto Suzuka. I think he might have been the son of the comic. It saw Blackjack team up with Dr. Kiriko to save the world, an evil group who wanted to bring about a horrific event. When Blackjack ended in 2006, a sequel series released quickly after, titled Blackjack 21. The series had 17 episodes with Makoto Suzuka once again directed. Let me just let me go. I think that one might have been under. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. So he is. He was the son of Osamu to. All right, that's what I thought. All right. Not only is his father Osamu Tezuka, but he partially owns Tezuka Productions as well. Okay. Now getting back to the article here. Probably gonna be our last article for the month. When Blackjack ended in 2006, a sequel series released quickly after. Okay, we already read that one. Let's see. Read that part. This series focused on Hazama investigating what caused the explosion that injured him, discovering a secret conspiracy. In 2015, another Blackjack spinoff was launched, a 12-episode anime called Young Blackjack. This was based on the prequel spinoff manga written by Yoshiaki Tabata and illustrated by Yugo Okuma. This series followed Kuro Hazama in medical school and was directed by Mitsuko Kase. Which version of Blackjack is the best? Picking the best version of Blackjack is hard. For example, the 2004 anime is the closest to the manga, despite the updated time period and attempts to lighten the overall tone. While the OVA series from the early 90s has fans due to
due to its chunkier design and moody atmosphere. Viewers who prefer modern anime may find the animation style a little off-putting and stilted. And while the 2004 anime has fantastic animation and captures Osamu Tezuka's signature style very well, it simply lacks the atmosphere of the OVA series. Um, while the movies and the various specials have fans as well, their fragmented nature makes them a terrible place to start the franchise, as they often require knowledge of the lore to get the most out of them. However, all things considered, the 2004 anime is likely the best choice for any Osamu Tezuka fan interested in Black Jack, as it has a better arc to the titular Blackjack and his support character. This is down to this is down to it simply being longer than the OVA series, giving more time to flesh out the details. The adaptation also has a great soundtrack provided by Akihiko Matsumoto. This soundtrack really elevates the surgery section, giving them loads of tension and capturing the inherent riskiness of what Blackjack is doing. However, for diehard fans of the retro 90s anime style, the OVAs are worth watching. Ah, um, Blackjack's longevity is a testament to Osamu Tezuka's writing. He was able to make interesting characters who were flexible enough to embark on different adventures without ever feeling out of place. While all of Blackjack's adaptations handle the source material uniquely, they all perfectly um, show why the character has endured so well. As Blackjack himself is always intriguing, subverting several hero tropes in a logical but engaging
manner. This comes together to make a franchise that every anime and manga fan should experience at least once. Alrighty then. So there we go with that one. So I think we're done with all the articles for tonight. Okay. Alrighty then. So now why don't we go ahead and get on to the wrestling roundup here. We do have some WE and WE and AEW news to go over. Um, let me see. Um, First off, going through the WWE, so they were dropping a small hint that Austin Theory might cash in his Money in the Bank on NXT. They were packing the show last night to compete against to go to the Dynamite like for the first AEW Dynamite for the first time in a while. Was trying to directly compete with the WWE due to a scheduling conflict with Major League Baseball. Um, so they had to have a special tribute. So we'll talk more about that and some of the news finding AEW in a moment. So just get kind of quickly caught up on some of the stuff from WWE here. Also, one other piece of news. So Bret Hart is saying that he believes that Goldberg should be taken out of the Hall of Fame. He believes that Terry Horowitz should be put into Horowitz is a better wrestler
and then Goldberg in Hart's opinion, um, and that Goldberg actually hurt people in the wrestling. I think Hart took exception to the fact that Goldberg, is known for hurting people. He's not maybe a hit of him, not as good a wrestler. Not work in the ring. So that's kind of what's going on there. Now for AEW, there's plenty that we talked about a few minutes a moment ago. AEW had a special episode of Dynamite last night, titled Tuesday, as they had a scheduling conflict with Major League Baseball that had them have the Dynamite episode for last night. 4 world titles were on the line. We had the trio title on the line, in which Death Triangle, basically all the champions retained their respective titles. We defended last night. You had Death Triangle retain over Best Friends with Orange Cassidy. Some possible dissension showing there is that Pac went for the ring hammer, the hammer they used to ring the ring bell with. Only for Ray Phoenix to kind of tell, hey, look, you don't need to do that. Got the hammer away from him. Eventually won the match without, not using underhand tricks. Possible turn there going on. You also had for the AEW interim world women's title, Toni Storm retained over Hikaru Shida. Now, after the match, Dr. Britt Baker and her little faction went after Toni Storm. It seems like Britt Baker just can't get the idea that she's no longer the it girl in AEW. She's acting like a brat and keeps going after, but you had Saraya come out and go after Britt. They went brawling to the crowd, and Rebel and Jamie Hayter were continuing their attack on Toni Storm in the ring. You had the return of Rio, who was the first AEW Women's World Champion. She came back to give another ally to help Storm save off Britt Baker and her little group attack. So then you had for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, Chris Jericho actually retained in a clean fashion. As he, Austin Dalton Castle, the former Ring of Honor champion, made a good showing of himself, with short and getting the Ring of Honor title back around his waist. Is the Osos he wants to call himself now, after having a clean win, and even Ring of Honor announced that Ian Riccaboni saying that he could, if Jericho won his matches like that, he could get behind him and support him. But Jericho and wanting to desecrate the legacy of Ring of Honor just wouldn't have any of that. So he with his Jericho Appreciation Society, they decided to try to attack Ian Riccaboni before producer agent Jerry Lynn came out, another former Ring of Honor champion himself. But unfortunately, Jericho decided to be even more of a jerk and decided to tombstone Jerry Lynn onto the Ring of Honor belt. After Lynn had gotten the belt away from Jericho before Jericho was going to hit Riccaboni with it. Then in the main event, you saw Jon Moxley retain the AEW World Title over Adam Page. Unfortunately, this match was marred by the ending, as Page ended up getting success after taking a lariat from Moxley. Now, lariat, for those who don't know, is just similar to a clothesline. It's just you move your arm through, So a clothesline is usually just sticking your arm straight out on your opponent, you know, and they just, lariat, you actually go through your opponent, almost like you're trying to decapitate the guy's head when they're flying. Well, Moxley hit a lariat on um on Page, and then Adam Page. Page actually ended up being knocked out, from what I understand, because they actually ended up having to stretch her out of the ring. Now, due to the fact that the match ended up short, it led, Moxley was quick on his feet because they still had time on the show. So, he cut a promo that ended up bringing out, his manager, William Regal, and MJF, with MJF promising to basically cash in his casino chip at Full Gear, setting up the main event for next month's Full Gear on November the 12th, which what NWA will also be having a part-time event on that day as well. So that's all from Dynamite last night. Some other AEW news, um, as it would appear that the investigation. Let's see. Well, one of the big news that came out yesterday was that Ace Steel was released from AEW. Ace Steel, who was an agent, he was one of the guys involved in that in the little little in the physical altercation after All Out. Um, he was released, which is showing signs that the investigation into that incident may be coming to an end, as now you're starting to hear Punk, Kenny Omega, and the Elite being mentioned on TV again. Uh, Now, granted, CM Punk and Kenny Omega and the Elite are still suspended, but it would appear that the investigation may be coming to a close, and now you're having more references made to these individuals. Now, whether or not CM Punk will be released, whether or not anybody else is going to be released, we don't know yet, and time will tell on this. The first piece of news we've heard about the incident since since the initial happening. Um, so that's all the wrestling news I have for you guys tonight. Um, so now, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and start winding things down? As today is um, Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. So let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in history. History! Things real quick. Hmm, 7, oh, okay. Oops. Uh, okay. Okay. All right. So, anyways, did have to make a slight adjustment here because apparently there was a discrepancy with one of the things there. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look back at this new history. History. So first off, we're going to go back to 2002 here, and on this date in 2002, Um, 3 3PW, known as Propane Pro Wrestling, um, went, held it a night for the Flyboy Rocco Rock event. This is a tribute show to honor one half of Public Enemy, Rocco Rock, who had died the previous month. The main event of this event saw Sabu defeat Gary Wolf in a tables match for the 3GW Heavyweight Championship. Jerry Lawler defeated Kurt Hennig on this show. Um, let's see, what else can we see here? Was Jasmine St. Clair and Blue Meanie defeated Missy Hyatt and Rocky Rebel in the tag match. Is Six Pac, which is Ron Killing. Um, Roadkill defeated Kristen York with Joey Matthews and his corner. Jason Knight defeated Sel Tsunami. Rob Esso with White Lotus. And then to start off the show, Joey Matthews defeated Josh Penn. So on this date, back in 20 years ago today, from Viking Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Propane Pro Wrestling, 3PW, held its night for the Flyboy Waka Waka event. So there we go with that. Let's move on to the next piece of news history here. A couple pieces of news history here. So we now head back to 2017, and on this date in 2017, on this date in 2017,
Um, Distributed by Promenade Pictures, The Ten Commandments, which was produced by a number of different companies, including Hoo Studios and Sparky Animation, premiered on its date in 2007. So 15 years ago today, The Ten Commandments, which is a computer animated biblical epic film, um, directed by John Stomack and Bill Boyce, um, premiered in theaters on this date back in 2007, 15 years ago today.
and also happening 15 years ago today is 2007 is just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. And also on this date in 2007, from distributed by Toei Company, Digital Frontiers um, anime movie Appleseed Ex Machina premiered in Japanese theaters on this date in Japan back in 2007. So with that, I have one more piece of news history to go through. And on this date, 11 years ago today, in 2011 here, um, the fifth and final issue of All Nighter from Image Comics went on sale on this date back in 2011, 11 years ago today. It sold for $3.99 with 32 pages. So there we go with that one. I thank everybody for being here tonight as we close things out here. Oh, don't forget this Friday I'll have Tim Olsen guest co-hosting with me as we look back to June of 1939 and be going over some books that are on sale from Kensar. We'll be introducing you to a couple of Golden Age heroes and the Masked Marvel and Animal Affair. I hope everybody will be here. And I hope everybody will be back here tomorrow night for more news. And with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.